Hello everybody, it's Donna here from Blind and Knitting. How are you all? And welcome to my podcast, my little piece of the planet where I can share my love of crafts and knitting. This is episode 33 and it's the 10th of September. And today I'm determined to get it right. Last podcast I was so wrong in so many things that this is going to be the podcast of corrections. All I can do is blame some family circumstances. If you go back and watch it, you'll understand. I did have a death in the family and my dog was very sick, and I don't know where my brain was, but I had made so many mistakes. It's right from the start. I even got the date wrong. So here we are again, this time going to get it right, I hope. So I hope you're all well. It's spring here in New Zealand. I'm in the lower half of the North Island and we are just coming into spring. So I had my birthday last weekend. My birthday's on the 3rd of September, which is a really lovely time because it's the start of spring. And my partner, instead of giving me a bouquet of flowers, he gave me a bucket of daffodils. If I can, I'll pop a picture in up here for you. It was just the most beautiful thing. And every time I walked into my lounge, the smell of just spring and daffodils and that really pretty, subtle floral smell, it was just lovely. So I have 4 whips. No, I don't. I have 4 FOs today. 4 FOs. And I have 2 whips. 1 active whip, 1 to be started, and I've been pondering and pinning out some sewing to start doing a little bit of sewing for summer. So I've got a lot to talk about today, and let's get started. So the first thing I should talk about, and I'll spread it through my podcast as well, is Knit August Nights, which is an annual retreat that Skeins in Napier, one of our wool mills and wool shops in Napier, puts on. And this was my 2nd year going. And so I went up with one of my knitting friends, Vicky. We did a roadie, which was great fun. And we went up and met all of our other knitting friends up in Napier, which is a little bit further up the island, and the weather was stunning. The place we stayed at was stunning. The classes and workshops were brilliant. One in particular that I did by Lisa F, who is a beautiful designer, particularly of baby clothes, and she has her own wool brand, which is gorgeous. So I do recommend you have a look at Lisa F's designs in wool. But she did a workshop on Latvian braids, I-cords and Latvian braids, and I can't wait to add some Latvian braids into something I'm knitting. I'm really keen to get, when you learn something and you don't want to forget it, so I'm really keen to put some Latvian braids in things I'm knitting now, because what a lovely skill to learn. Looking forward to using those. So I'll talk more about Khan as we go, particularly in the acquisitions pile, because I did do a bit of spending. I was very good, actually. I shouldn't really even go like that, because I was actually very good. And I tried to do a little bit of spending in most of the stalls so that I got a little bit from everybody. 2 that I missed that I'll talk about as well, because I'm going to catch up with them later on in the year, so I will purchase from them later. So Khan was fantastic. What else has happened over the last 2 weeks? To be honest, I was so knackered after the last podcast and that's probably why I've got 4 finished objects, because all I wanted to do is just sit and just knit through my thoughts, knit through my feelings, get them all out in my hands, and work through them. So that's what I've done, hence 4 objects, which I'll show you shortly. So that's that. I've been on a health kick, so I decided that spring was going to be, I'm going to have a 3-month health kick. So for 3 months I have cut my meal sizes down considerably, increased my water and green tea. I'm pretty good at drinking water and green tea, but over winter you get a bit slack on it, so I've increased that back up. no alcohol at all, so I'm totally going to be alcohol free for 3 months. What else have I done? I've brought some multivitamins. I've gone back to the gym, so I am swimming on Mondays and weightlifting on Wednesdays. I'm going to try, I haven't yet got there yet, to do yoga on the Thursday. And I've increased my steps, walking steps. I usually, because my job is sedentary, I struggle with this, and being blind, I struggle with this, but I've increased them up to about 6,000, 7,000 steps a day, which I know is not, what are we supposed to do? 20,000, 10,000, 20? I'm nowhere near it, but it's better than the 3 or 4 that I was doing before. So yeah, it's a start building up on it. So I have been going through that. I've lost 2 kilos. Not that it's about weight, it's about health, but I have lost 2 kilos in 2 weeks. So that's a bonus. I'm not actually doing it for that. I'm really just doing it just for a health kick. Just have a good, and I regularly do these. Have like this. Right, this is it. I'm just gonna have a lovely big clean out and have a good health kick, and then probably smash myself to death over Christmas with pavlovas and sherry trifles. Yum, mum's sherry trifle. Oh, I feel like Homer now going. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been doing this last fortnight, is having a health kick. I have had this weekend for 4 days. I've still got it now, although it's not quite so bad at the moment. I've got a really nasty headache for 4 days, and I can't work out why. I've got several reasons. Well, firstly, when you do a health kick and your body goes into shock, it goes, what the hell? And so it starts, saying you're making changes, and so that could be the case. It could be that I'm now relaxing after a stressful month, and often when you relax, your blood vessels open up and can give you a headache, so it could be that. It could be, what was the other one? This one. I had a fall, a nasty fall at the gym. You know those gifs where you see somebody on a treadmill? Yes, you can start laughing now, because I was one of those. I was one of those people. Got on the treadmill, put my safety clip on so that thank God I put my safety clip on. Pushed start just on start, so it just starts really slowly. Starting slowly, I think, oh, I must. I'm laughing already. What a dick. I must put my watch on, exercise, to show that I've done an exercise. So I stopped walking to put my watch on. Thank God. Next minute on the floor going, what the hell happened? And I'd obviously flown off the treadmill, smashed. I was at I go to a country club gym at Copthorne here. I just smashed a massive hole in the wall. Oh my God. Yes, you can laugh, because I'm laughing too, but it was, if there was a video on, people would have used it as a gif. I don't even remember the fall, so I don't even remember how I got on, but I just remember landing there. So I bit my tongue really badly. I smacked my head. I've obviously hurt my neck because it's really sore, and I've hurt my back, obviously, because I hit it hard enough to put this. If I can, I'll put a photo up here. But this massive wall hole. Oh, I had to go to the counter, and I was shaking and had given myself a hell of a fright. But I was okay. I thought I was till I got to the counter, and then I said, "Oh, I've had a," and then I've had a fall. No, so they're all flustering over me and bringing me a cup of tea and that. So I'm questioning whether my headache is that, whether I've actually done myself a bit of an injury. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm okay. I think that was for Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 4 days ago. So yeah, I still have the headache and the sore neck, but I was a bit worried that I'd concussed myself, because I smacked my head bad enough to bite my tongue nastily. Anyway, that was my last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I think, since I've podcast. Some ups and downs, literally some downs. Every now and then I think about it and I just have to have a giggle. I think, what a dick, what an absolute wally. Anyway, I'm just thankful that I had only just turned it on, had the emergency thing on. God knows where I would have ended up. I might have ended up in the hallway or in someone's bedroom, Copthorne Motel, through the wall into someone's room going, oh, hello. Oh, Lordy. Anyway, that's been my adventures. Yes, I have got a headache, so I'm trying to ignore it, but hey ho, it's there. So what else have I got to talk about? I'm going to stick to my notes really well because, as I said, I got so much wrong last time. So for FOs, so let's get into the FOs, shall we? I'll pull them up. Well, first one, this is, and I'm not going to talk about this in too much detail. This is my long-standing Birkin by Caitlin Hunter that I started last year and got all the way through up to the sleeves and couldn't manage the colour of the wool, had a deterioration of my sight. By the way, if you're a new viewer, welcome for a start, but to let you know that I am legally blind. It's a degenerative disease called retinitis pigmentosa, or RP as I call it, and I only have about the size of my palm amount of usable vision. The rest of it is totally black. So yeah, so that hence why it's my podcast is called Blind and Knitting. I talk a lot about how to manage that, but this I discovered most 3/4 of the way through this that there's no way I was going to finish this colour with my sight. I didn't have chalgoo needles. That may have made it easier. Now I've purchased chalgoo needles now because I was using Knit Pros, which the contrast was, there was no contrast but the colour of the needles and this wool. So a good friend of mine, Vicky, who comes to knit our knit groups, hi Vicky, thank you so much. Finished it. She finished the sleeves for me and she's done a lovely job. A little bit puffed, which is exactly what I wanted. Nice 2 and 2 rib. And just a nice length. I'm sitting, so they are a wee bit longer than that, so they're just on perfect. They're exactly where I want them. So I really love this. Pleased I can actually wear it. It's a full ply Mardi, it's called. It is Helene from Happy Go Knitties Mardi. It is stunningly soft because it is merino, yak and silk. I can't remember the amounts, but if you go on Happy Go Knitties website, you'll find it. It's a stunning wool. I've actually bought 3 other jersey lots of it as well, because with the combination with the yak and the silk just makes it beautiful, and it's beautiful to knit. It was just purely I'd got to a stage where I just could not see the colour with the needles, and so Vicky finished it. But it's the first, not the first time, it's the second colour work I've ever done, and I used just a one of those, you know how we have lots of spare hanks floating around. I had a 4-ply hank of just a mix that I brought from Squishy McDo and Margaret from Squishy McDo, and it's all flecky, and yeah, it's really pretty. I love it. So quite happy with that. So thank you, Vicky, for finishing it. But that's 1 year. Tick, FO, done, completed, blocked, and smells beautiful because I blocked it with shampoo conditioner. If it wasn't soft enough, it's much softer now, and it's really pretty. So that is my Birkin by Caitlin Hunter. I can't tell you any more details because it's in my old journal. So that's, but if you go right back, I think I started at about February, March last year. My second FO is, now because I had shown this, there was the WIP in my last podcast, is this beast. It's huge. huge. This is really big rainbow. Ooh, lots of colour. This is, I used the Calliope pattern, which I've got here, by Space Tricot, just as the bones. Basically, it was heavily modified, but I used the bones of the Calliope pattern for this one. I had a reel, I don't know what you call them, a plate or a reel of sheep geese rainbow coloured, it said it was 4-ply, but I question that because it was very fine, that I'd brought in Wollongong, and I mixed it, so I mailed it with skeins undyed 8-ply. So I guess if it's a 4 and 8, it's probably a 12-ply or a bulky knit, but yeah, I do question the 4-ply of the sheep geese one. So basically all I did was use the cast on and the neck for the Calliope, which is a slightly more open, flat. The neck sits flat rather than up like this one. And I mailed it and used the raglans. It's a raglan. And I knit and knit and knit and knit. And it got a bit long, but I was really determined to get all of the colours of the rainbow in it. I perhaps could have stopped after the green, but I wanted to make sure there was the purple in there. And so it's the colours of the rainbow, Roy Gibiv, and it's very long on me. It's under my bum, past my bum, but that's what I wanted. I wanted a big, cosy, sloppy, just throw on warm jersey for winter. And because I didn't have enough to do the sleeves, I've left the sleeves just in the undyed wool, and I have made them very puffy, and I had a little bit left of the purple, so I mailed the ribs of both the sleeves. Love it, really happy with it. Probably not something I'd wear to work unless it's just a really casual day, but you know, for around home or going to town, I don't know where I'll wear it, but I've had lots of comments. I did wear it to work, didn't I? I've had lots of comments on it, so it obviously looks quite nice on. It's almost as long to be if I have tights on, or you know, leggings. So you could say it's a mini skirt. I mean, I'm not a mini skirt person, but with leggings obviously, or jeggings, it's very long, but it's cool. So that's another FO completed. It hasn't been blocked, and I guess I am a little bit wary of blocking it because I'm not sure about, because no, I haven't done a sample, and I haven't a swatch, and I haven't blocked it. So I'm not sure whether the sheep geese will run. I'm hoping like heck not. But I'm really enjoying wearing it unblocked, so I will wear it unblocked when I'm ready to wash it. That's when it'll get a block. And what will be in the change, if there's any changes in it when I do that. So FO number 2, throw that over there. FO, now I had just a little bit of wool left, and I thought, oh, I'll just whip up a quick hat because I hate waste. Wasn't enough to do, put back in my bin, it was just little bits. So I thought, I'll whip up a quick hat, not that I wear them very often, but if I wore that, it might be quite nice. So I just didn't use pattern, just cast on, and did the marling for the rib, and did so fold over rib and the bot, and I thought, oh god, damn, I'm clever. You know, who needs a pattern? Well, apparently me, because it's way too big. Oh, I suppose it doesn't actually look that big. It's way too big, but it'll do for on the farm. I don't think it's actually going to stay on, so it is too big and too short. So, you know, if you think you can whip up a hat without a pattern, if you know you can, go for it. But if you think you can, better to find a pattern. So I don't know what'll happen with that. Anywho, it's no waste because I haven't. That's not yarn that I've bought. That's the Birkin pattern, just to remind you again, Caitlin Hunter. So that's the Birkin, Caitlin Hunter. So I can put those away in my folder now. They're done. As I said, we went up to Cairn, and I didn't want to take my great big, I call it my Calliope jersey, but I know it's heavily modified, but I call it my Calliope, because that was such a big, I did take it and do it in the motel room, but it was such a big thing for knitting, and I thought, well, I'll knit something really quick. And because I'd had, a couple of those few weeks of stress, I wanted something that was no thinking, just ridiculously easy, that I would get the product quick. So I thought, well, chunky knit, or big heavy wool, something stocking stitch, and I came across, and I don't think I've not ever printed the pattern out. I don't think. I've just used it on my phone. I came across one of those, kind of like a half poncho, so it comes down your shoulders and it stops, and I thought, right, that'll be me. So I knit this. Now this is called Friend to Friend, and it's by Leslie Friend. Leslie Friend wrote the pattern, and the pattern is called Friend to Friend. So this is just what I needed. I got it's chunky wool. Where's my notes? Make sure I get it right. So Friend to Friend by Leslie Friend. The wool is called Warm by, and I think there's some more I will pull out of my Cairn bag shortly and show you, because I brought it at Cairn. It's called Warm, and it is the colourway, it's bulky knit, and the colourway is, well, it says, I've written down Retreat, so I don't know if that's the colourway or if that's because I brought it at the retreat. So there we go, mistake number. Well, it's not really a mistake, it's a confusion, isn't it? So it's 100% New Zealand merino. I knitted on 8mm needles. I started on the 24th of August and I finished on the 28th of August. So it was it's just what I needed. And I thought, will I ever wear this? But I thought, so I've been wearing it a lot. I really liked it before I blocked it, but I'll show you what's happened since I blocked it. So it's basically a bottleneck. So it comes down, and then you've got your shoulder shape comes across straight. So, and you have a fake seam in it, which you put up the side there. This is a skeins wool that again, I've always liked skeins wool, so I'm quite happy with that. And basically, you just throw it on like this, pull it down on the sides, and voila, there is. So, if you're at a barbecue and all of a sudden you just get cold around your shoulders, or how I've been using it is, I love to watch podcasts in bed, and I usually put my dressing gown on, but my dressing gown sticks to my flannelette sheets, and if I turn, I've got to twist the whole thing over, and I can get too hot, and then you've got to try and get one arm out. So what I've been doing is I've been putting this on and sitting up, the old-fashioned, I don't know if you'll remember, and I remember my Auntie Jean had one, and they were those awful nylon, pink, quilted nylon stuff that your fingers stuck to, and it had a bow set around your shoulders. I think they were called a bed cape. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Anyway, this is my bed cape, modern day bed cape. So like Auntie Jean's with the pink bow and the awful nylon that's stuck to you. So two reasons I like this. It's just a useful little, it's a thing for a thing. It's a useful little thing. And it was what I needed mentally, just so quick. I got a product out of it. I just could furiously knit on it, just get all of this into it. And so it fit better before it was blocked. And what's happened when it's blocked is it has, this is poked out. I don't know if you can see that there. So it should be like that, but it pokes out there, and that's because the shoulder, before it was blocked, the shoulder was correct, and when it's been blocked, the shoulder has come out wider, bigger. So I think what I'll need to do is, next time I turn my iron on, is maybe I'll steam that and try and get it to sit flat rather than sit out. But yeah, for a quick, make a fantastic gift for someone. You know, you could embellish it with, I don't know, something if you really wanted, but you don't have to worry about size. It was so quick, it was cheap, and it's hot. But I really enjoyed doing that for a good mental health workout. So you can kind of see how it sticks out a wee bit here, which was fine when they fit, but it has stretched down. Hey ho, that's what happens with bulking it and not swatching. Hey, that's one of the things that happens when you don't. I should have, in hindsight, I could have knit it smaller. And if I knit another one, because I did consider putting the Latvian braids that I had learnt at Cairn on this, and I was going to put Latvian braids across the bottom and in it and across the top, but that would have taken away what I really needed it for. I really needed that, and so I chose not to. So that's my 4 whips. They can 4 FOs. They can be, well, the hat can be disposed of. I might even put some shirring elastic around it. I don't know if I need it for a farm hat. It's white, which is not great for farm hat, but you know, these I love, so really happy with them. So of course, when you finish whips, you cast on, don't you? Now I did talk about last time, so let's get into my whips. I've actually only got one whip and one that I'm going to start today. I've been very good. I'm not sure why. Maybe I just didn't have the head space, but Stuart wanted me to knit him a jersey, and so I am knitting him, and he chose the wool. Oh, that was when Skeins had a big sale. The anchor, sorry, all that rustling, sorry. The anchor for my boyfriend by Petite Knits. Now I've knit this before for myself and absolutely loved it. It was an easy pattern, really looked nice and sharp with even how simple it was. He chose the wool, which is Skeins again. Now Skeins had a massive sale, once a year sale, and it was $4 something a skein of a ball. So that equates to about $40 to $50 for a jersey. So I let him choose, said as long as it's not dark. So it is vintage abroad 10 ply, although I'm knitting it up like an 8 ply ish, because it's not, it's just a nice wool. 100% merino, New Zealand merino, and the colour, I think if I can see, the colour is, no, can't see the colour, but that's okay. So it's a really lovely colour though. It's kind of a stone. It's kind of fawn, cream and grey. And I've knit so many jerseys in this over the years. I've knit 2 about 6 years ago that I just live in thrash. So it's just a good sturdy workhorse wool. So that's what I'm knitting it in. I'm knitting a size, I'm going to make sure my details are right again. I am knitting him a size large. I was going to go XL. Stuart's not it's not a big man. He's 5'6", but he's quite solid because he's a farmer, so he's strong. So I was going to go XL, but I chose to go L because it's 10 ply and the pattern's an 8 ply pattern. I'm doing it on a 4mm needle, gauge of 20 stitches, and I started it on the 4th of September. So a week ago. So this is where I'm at. It's knitting it really nicely. So I think there's 5 of those rib sets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 1 more to do, and then I can start splitting for the sleeves. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. This was laziness again. My head was not great. I decided to knit the rib separate, back and forward instead of the neckline, instead of joining it, because I couldn't be bothered. Well, it's not that I couldn't be bothered, that's not fair. I brought chow goos, and you only have so many, you only get a couple or 3 choices when you buy your chow goos, and I haven't brought myself some more cables yet. So the cable that I needed was on something else I was knitting, maybe the failure hat. That's what I call that hat now. And so I couldn't be bothered faffing around, so I just knit the band rib open and joined it together when the cable was long enough to accept it at the next round. So yeah, really enjoying knitting this. It's easy. It's a 12-row repeat, so hey ho, and then it's pure stockinette after that. It's a really nice, it's, as I say, it's a workhorse yarn, so it's woolly, but it's not scratchy, but it's definitely a wool. And I am about to put it on a cord for Stuart to try it on, just to make sure. I wouldn't want to get too much further to find that it doesn't fit, but I suspect Stuart and I both have the same measurement, chest measurements, so I'm using me as a guide without the boobs. Or the length. Thankfully he's not a 19-inch albatross stretch, so his sleeves and length should be not quite as big. Using my chow goos, which I'm loving. They're very sharp. Haven't split wool with it, which surprises me, but they are very sharp. Took me a little while. Obviously I touched the tip of my needle quite a bit when I knit, which I didn't recognise till I had sharp needles. But I am loving the chow goos. I still really like my Knit Pros. Don't like the Knit Pro cord. Love the chow goo cord, and am enjoying the needles. So I'm pleased I've got both, because I can whip them back and forwards. The Knit Pros might have been a good colour for here, but it's a colour that I can see reasonably well. I'm also using my needle stoppers that I got from Lisa from Unwind and Knit with Me. I've got a little container with lots of different sizes, from small to chunky ones, and they've been great. I used to use just rubber bands, and I have broken a couple of Knit Pros with my rubber bands. Possibly could bend these, although I think they're quite strong, but yeah, they're good. Enjoying those. So that's how my anchor is going. I don't know if it'll be a FO next time I podcast, but I'm hoping it'll be close. I can't say I'm being monogamous, but I am minimising my I think last winter I had just a feverish desire to knit, and I still have that a lot, but it's settling a little bit. And that'll be summer, I suppose. You know, summer, you can't think, well, I don't really want to be knitting a big jersey in summer. So yeah, I have some plans on summer, and my next podcast I'm going to concentrate on what my summer knits will be, what my summer plans are, and what I will knit and what I will sew, because it is a different it's a different season, and so you're out more. You have more light, which is better for me for knitting, but yeah, it's hot and you don't want to be knitting big jerseys. So I've got some good plans moving forward. I won't show you a lot of them today, but I will show you my next WIP that I'm going to start today, because I'm missing a shawl. I love my shawls, and I haven't knit one for a while, and I've had this on my radar for some time. So what I want to knit is Johi Locatelli's Pure Joy. That's it there. I fell in love with it when Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready. So who made it? Was it Ray or Kevin? Can't remember. It was Ray, I think, had made it, or Kevin, and just loved it. I thought, yep, that's definitely a shawl for me. So I had brought some time ago, and I'm pretty sure I've shown this on my podcast. I love Marina's wool. So this is Strawberry Patches. She's a New Zealand indie dyer, Marina, up in Auckland. And look at that. Oh, just love it. Just love, love, love it. So it's a 4-ply, and yeah, it's just scrummy. So that's going to be the base, and then I'm going to use a contrast colour for the I think the eyelet lines. You can kind of see them there just. So I'm going to use this as my contrast colour, which is a where is it? It is a Cascade 2020 Sport Pure Wool. So two of them together. I think that's going to be a beautiful shawl. So I've got a 4-ply and a 5-ply Sport, but that will make those. It'll make that stand out. Just give that pop of colour. And this, I'm really looking forward to what that will look like knit up. So that is my cast on this afternoon. I'm going to do the Pure Joy by Johi Locatelli. I've never knit one of Johi's patterns. I'm looking forward to knitting it because a lot of people talk a lot about her patterns, and so that is I have promised myself to, I want to, and this is why my next podcast is going to be more around my adventures, future adventures, because I really want to start knitting some completely different stuff, and I want to challenge myself a bit over summer. And anyway, next podcast, I'll talk about that next podcast. So that is my 2 whips. I've still got my socks. I haven't picked up my socks for ages because I've been feverishly knitting away on these. So my socks have just, sat idle, and that's okay. I don't mind that at all. Put that down there. Get rid of that. So my next, and get rid of that. I'm getting through this quite well. And I don't think I've made any mistakes, or if I have, minimal. Mental health. So I was going to talk a little bit about mental health because balance, work-life balance is always a challenge for everybody. And, we talk about it a lot, and I don't think people really get what it means. So in the psychological world, we talk about the 8 areas of human existence. So these are the 8 areas of our life that make us kind of the complete pie. So every piece of the pie, basically, and there's 8 of them. So the idea with work-life balance is to make sure you get some balance on each one of those areas. So they are intimacy. So that's your personal relationship, your husband or your partner or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or so your intimacy, your family, your direct family, your friends, your work, paid and voluntary, your hobbies, what blows your hair back, what do you enjoy, your knowledge, so what are you learning, how are you treating your brain and your knowledge, spirituality. Now that's not religion, that is how you take care of your wider or how you take care of your soul or your spirit, or that's your spirituality. And the last one is physicality. How do you take care of your physical well-being? So those are the 8 areas that make us a whole person. They're the 8 pieces of pie. Now, we all know that work takes a big chunk of our day. That's just a reality. That's how the world, us, human beings, finances. That's just how we've worked our world. But it's really important to consider all of those other areas and ensure that you are adding some of that into your world regularly enough so that you've got some balance. Now, I talk about journaling a lot. I'm going to get my journal here. I teach journaling, but I also practice it myself, have since I can remember in primary school writing in those little A4 books and writing dear diary sort of things in those. College I definitely journaled in the old days we used to write dear diary, so I kept a journal through college, but through my adult world I've kept a journal all my life, just never not had one. I can't wait when my journal is full to buy a new one, because there's so many beautiful journals out there. And this is my this is actually a couple of years old now. I can't even remember when I bought it. I would say maybe 3 years ago. And where's my pen? I'm about halfway through. So, but what I do is at the very beginning of every new journal, I write the 8 areas of human existence down there. I always add extra 2, and that's just for myself as financial and Kenzie, and that is just so that I can keep it, I like to monitor those as well. So when I am journaling or when I'm spending time reflecting on my day, week, world, I make sure that I visit each of those areas and have a good, true, balanced look at them. So, I suggest you do that. Now, you don't have to journal if it's something that you don't do, journaling. Now, every now and then, probably once a year or so, I do in a diary, a chart, and I get 8 different colours, and I chart in where I spend my time. Is it, on my physical, so I plot things like exercise, I plot things like my friend time, my partner time, my children, my family time, and I really have a look at it. Now, it can be quite confronting if you do live in a situation where you don't have a great deal of balance in your world. It can be quite confronting, but if you prepare yourself for that and then look at it, you can then start genuinely looking at those areas and wondering how you can improve and get some balance into your world. So that's how I do it. It's just something that I've found really useful over the years to ensure that I've got some balance. And if things get a bit wobbly on it, then I can revisit that and I can say, well, actually, what am I missing? What parts have I not been attending to? Have I not been doing my hobbies and crafts? Because that to me is part of my mental well-being. Have I not attended to my spiritual, me, a spiritual part of me? Have I not done my physical, have I not been taking care of my physical world? So, yeah. It can be really useful. So 8 areas of human existence. You can Google it and find out. Some Google comes up with 6 areas and some comes up with 9, but 8 is the general. But as I say, I add 2. Really, finances could come under work, but I like to visit that as well. And Kenzie, because she's such a massive and important part of my world, I visit that as well to make sure that I'm doing all her needs met. All her needs met as well. So that's my little mental health discussion, is on the 8 areas of human existence. I do recommend you do a chart Monday to Sunday, and like 5:30 till midnight, and block in, get 8 different pens, 8 different coloured pencils, and block in and see where your gaps are, and then it's easier to create some goals then. So, where am I at? Let me just check my list. I'll have a cuppa. I hope you've got a cuppa. I'm just drinking good old-fashioned Nescafe coffee. Nothing posh today. Did you know that POSH is a acronym? I discovered this a little while ago. POSH is an acronym for, so when people had money and could afford many years ago, pioneering time, on a ship. If they had plenty of money, they would pay to sail port out and starboard home, because the weather was better, the sailing was better, and you didn't get as sick. So when you had money, you would always pay for port out, starboard home. Hence, you were posh. There we go. So that's where posh comes from. So yeah, no, I'm not being posh today. Just a little, there's something for your knowledge part of your 8 areas of human existence. You can add that there. It might come up on a quiz one night. So let me see what I'm missing or what I've not touched on. My corrections. My corrections, yes. Now, as I said, where is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, when you buy the local Times Age, a local rag here, and there's often a little corrections corner, you know, on page 4 down the bottom saying corrections that they've made mistakes. Well, hey, I'm just going to put mine on the front page. I needed to make some corrections. One things that I was really probably the most embarrassed or mortified about that I'd made a mistake in is when I did the yarn swap with Wardrobe Toolbox. For some reason, I've never done it before. So, and this is what assuming does. It makes an ass out of you and me. It made an ass out of me. So I assumed the person that you send your yarn swap to is the person that sends you your yarn swap back. So I sent my yarn swap to Australia, to a lady in Australia. I've forgotten her name now, Sandy or Sandra, in Australia. And of course, when I got mine, you know, I didn't consider that it wasn't from this lady in Australia. So when I was telling you all about it, because I got the most fantastic parcel, it was just the most beautiful parcel, it said it was from Australia. So, but it wasn't. So evidently you send to somebody else and somebody else sends to you. So I'm learning. There's the knowledge thing again. So I got my parcel, my yarn swap from a lady called Amanda down in the South Island. And she's from the South Island, middle of the South Island, and she has a friend that is an indie dyer down there that she gave me the yarns and stuff from. Now, Dreamfire. I want to make a correction. So Dreamfire is an indie dyer down in the South Island. She does all of her sales on her website. No, or they. It is Helen Lang. I wonder if you're related, Helen, because Helen is spelt the same as mine. Last name is Lang as well. And Vince Vanderdorp. So Helen and Vince have this indie dyer sale. They used to do ceramics and then they took a break from wool to learn more about fibre and sharing, etc. for 10 years or so, and now they're back selling indie wool, and they've just got some stunning wool on their website. So I do recommend you have a look. Dreamfire, and that's some of their little, they also sell chalgoo needles and little markers and all sorts, but their fibres are beautiful. So have a look, and my apologies to Helen and Vince and Amanda for saying it was from Australia. It wasn't. There was also the soap. Oh, blast. It's on there. Amanda also gave me some beautiful soap from a place down south she is friends of hers as well. I'm going to have to put it on. I'm going to put it on my show notes so that it's correct, because it's actually on my phone. Sorry about that. But we're using the soap. Oh, it's beautiful. So thank you, Amanda. And I do know that the lovely lady that I sent my parcel to has received it and is very happy as well. So it was fun doing the yarn swap. Dreamfire, highly recommend their fibres. Go and have a look. Correction done, page 4 down the bottom. No, right in the front of my podcast. My mistake. So that's my main one. Where am I at? Pure joy, said health tips. Now, Kenzie, oh yes, Kenzie's heart issues. So she's much better, but she still pants, and she's still got a slightly enlarged heart. So the Blind Foundation, because I don't own her, the Blind Foundation own her, they are going to send her to Massey to have a cardio scan in the next couple of weeks. I think next week perhaps. I hope she copes, because she's such a sensitive soul. She's so connected to us that I did consider staying in a motel overnight and having her stay with me in the motel rather than at Massey in a cage, because she's just not that type of dog. She's just so sensitive. But I have a $1,700 bill for the vets that I have to pay, so staying in a motel while she's getting a cardiac thing overnight is not going to happen. But yeah, so she's okay, but she's still having tests, and it's a worry, but I'm trying to not let it be a worry. I have noticed she's a wee bit slower than she ever walked before, but she is 8 in November. So what's that, 7, 8, so she's 60. She's the same age as me. I'm slower than I used to walk when I was 30. And yeah, I think she gets a bit more tired. So we'll see how we go. But that's an update on where she's at. I'll let you know how the scan goes. I think, sewing. So as I said, sewing in summer. I have started some sewing. I'm going to talk a bit more about it in my next podcast, which is going to be specifically around my goals for summer. But I have decided to make myself in the summer, only because I thought it might be cheaper. What I'm missing, and I had for a long time, is a really long, and that's long being the operative word, because every one you can buy now is short, a dressing gown. Pardon me. So I want a long dressing gown to my ankles with big cuffs and a big shawl collar. I went and brought some, I know it's a pretty geary colour, I know. They only had three colours. Well, had 4 or 5, but 2 were kids. And this is the only one that I would have gone anywhere near. And quite frankly, I don't really care, but it's okay. It's a nice colour, so it's nice and bright. So I brought myself, it was on special. I think it was like 40% off or something. Still cost me $80. You can kind of see why people don't sew when you can buy a dressing gown at the warehouse or the Wari for $30 ready made. But I like to sew, and I like supporting local business by buying this. And so I bought 4 meters of this what's it called, polar fleece, nice thick fluffy. And I thought after that I'm not going to buy a jolly pattern because they're about $20, and I thought that's just adding it up too much. So I found in my pattern box simplicity, good old-fashioned simplicity pattern for a lumberjack's jacket, and I'm using that, and I'm just going to make it long. So I've pinned it all on, and I'm going to cut it out. I'm not in any hurry because it's summer, obviously, but that is, oh, it's huge. that's 4 meters of, yeah, that's, I mean, I'm 6 foot, so yeah. But I had a long dressing gown years ago. I went to put it in the op shop, and my daughter said, no, I'll wear it, and because it had got all worn a bit, just lost its fluff, basically. There was nothing wrong with the dressing gown, and she still snuggles up in it, but time for me to have a new one. So that's my sewing. I have actually got my sewing machine out behind you, sitting there ready to go. My ironing board, I bought a new ironing board cover because my ironing board cover was like 750 years old and it actually had a hole the size of my fist in it that I had to make sure I ironed around. So I've now got a fancy, well, not fancy, but a new ironing board cover, just a nice grey, good old ironing board cover. So that was one of my purchases. So that's my FOs, my WIPs, and next time I'm going to talk about my future ones. But what I thought I'd do is go through what I bought at Cannes, because there it is. It won't take us too long. It looks like a massive amount, but it's wool. So, so yeah, Cannes. I won a prize. We had, which was really quite fun. Remember Selwyn Too Good, and he used to say the money or the bag. So Marie, who runs Cannes and runs the retreat, did money or the bag that night, and I had to answer some questions. Didn't know the answers, so she was whispering them to me. What a sweetheart! And I won a Cannes Keep Cup. So that's number one. And I use keep cups a lot, so that'll be quite handy. The ladies that come from went up from Masterton. 3 of the ladies brought their husbands up and had camper vans. So the 3 husbands used my car, which we went up in during the day. And so they would take you touring around. And one of the ladies said, "Oh, I really want a pair of scales to measure my sock wool and that." And I thought, "Oh, that's a good idea." So I said, "Can you get me one too?" And then another one of the ladies said, "Can you get me one too?" So these 3 men went into, I'm not sure which hardware shop, and brought 3 sets of scales. I wonder whether they thought they were drug dealers, that they were going home to measure their bag up their dope. Anyway, they got 3 pair of scales. So I've bought a pair of scales. I haven't used them yet, but they are there because one of the things you'll discover next podcast is my sock journey. So that was one purchase. I brought some Cascade wool. That's number 2. I brought that Cascade and this Cascade from... now the reason I brought that Cascade is, and I can't see, I'll show you that Cascade later actually. This is... when we added up what I needed for my little shawl thing, she said, "Oh, you'll need 5 skeins." Well, look how much I've got left. Oh, I've got enough for another one. So, so that's the wool I knit the shawl out of, and that's what it's called. Warm, 100% New Zealand wool, bought from Skeins, and it's a bulky knit. Quite nice. It was nice to knit with too. Never knit with bulky, although my hands didn't cope with it very well. Big needles, great big. Can't remember. I think I said what size they were, but my hands did ache. I was knitting feverishly, I have to say, which didn't help because I just needed the mental health. God, I've said that many times. This one, obviously, that's a fact. But my hands did not cope with big needles knitting, so I didn't. That wasn't fun. But I've got enough here for another one. Not that I don't know what I'll do with that, but hey ho. What we got in our gift bag when we arrived is also a bulky knit from Skeins, and it is called Fantasy 12-ply bulky knit. And we got one of those free in it's quite cool colours, isn't it? Well, look at this. They go nice together. So my lovely other friend Vicky said, "Oh, I'll probably never use mine, you can have mine." So I've got 2 of those and 2.5 of those. So there's something I can knit. Not sure what, but I will. Quite like the idea of Latvian braids. So maybe not that again, but I do like one. It's a polar neck, and it's a front and a back with ties at the side, so it's open like a netball bib, with big ties. I call ties at the sides, that you kind of put over a white shirt with jeans, maybe something like that. Anyway, there's a nice knit for me to think of in the future. So that was that one. This one here is, and now this was really interesting. This is by, oops, I brought this from Good Wool Hunting. Now they're opening a store in Greytown or Carterton, can't remember which, very soon, so they're local to me. And this is a wool called Hooked. They are going out of them. Now it's a plant fibre, it's eucalyptus. So it totally, and can you see that? Yeah, that's better. Totally intrigued me. Look at how shiny that is. So the colour that I wanted, which was this, they didn't have enough for one t-shirt. So after quite a bit of lamenting, I decided to buy, I'm just getting together, hang on, bear with. Oh. I think that's it. There must be another one. So I'm going to do a very subtle stripe. There must be another one somewhere. Oh, grey. There we go. So that's those three colours. I'm going to do a very subtle striped t-shirt, summer t-shirt. I saw Yana from Finish Knits, and she'd knit one, or was it Selma from... anyway, and it was very subtle stripes, uneven stripes, and it looked lovely. So, but this wool intrigues me. It's really got a lovely sheen to it, and it's eucalyptus. So I've never knit with eucalyptus before. So that was my purchase of a garment lot. I promised myself I would only do one garment. So that, oh, that's that. There was four colours. Full colour stripe. That's the one. Oh, that looks really nice, doesn't it? Yeah, they'll look good. So, I'm covering myself with fibre here, but hey ho, hey, fun. So that was my main purchase, but Good Wool Hunting was saying they're going out of Hooked. So if I do like it, I'd have to find it somewhere else if I wanted it again. Then I brought, and I have bought from Sue before, Sue's handcrafted fibre and yarn. I love her colours, strength. She does the most beautiful, a lot like Marina, so she does the same as Marina from Strawberry Patches, these beautiful mixes, but these are Marina's tend to be very pink and pretty and lolly colours, which are gorgeous, and Sue's tend to be these sort of stronger tones. So I decided to buy one of these, possibly for another Pure Joy, if I really enjoy the Pure Joy, because it had a matching. It's not very contrasty, I have to say. It's more same. But so I brought the matching one to go with it. And yeah, so Sue from, and I have bought her yarns before and really enjoyed them. In fact, my very, very first pair of socks was one of Sue's yarns. So I bought those. So that's going to be a shawl. Not sure when, where, how, why, but it will be after Pure Joy. And then I brought some sock blockers. I bought the set because it was a really good price. So I bought the three sizes, child, medium, well, Goldilocks really, isn't it? Daddy bear, mama bear, papa bear. So child, medium and large. And these were a really good price. And these were from... I'm going to say Lorraine. Sorry, love. It'll be there. Walnut Cottage, that's right. And she has the most beautiful, I brought last retreat, I brought the sock foot measuring so you can get the right foot size, and this is these now. So I just love those. So I bought those. So Walnut Cottage, grey. Bear with. This is the first time I've pulled them out since I got back too. So as I say, I did try and support each vendor. So I went along, and the next stall along was, I'm trying to find them all now, Ethan from Get Flocked. Now I'm going down to Christchurch in November, and I'm hoping to catch up with Ethan at his shop and see his new shop, and Ethan and Emily. So I thought I would support them, and they had these cute little, just little trinkety, you know, I'm a sucker for a notion. This I thought was great, if you can see without the shining. 3 little crochet hooks, 3 different sizes, all on a little key ring. That's very handy for picking up stitches, etc. So that was, I thought that was quite good. A little wool cutter, so that is on a crochet hook, on a hook again, so that can sit. It's a wool snipper, and I don't know how these will work. Maybe it's a novelty thing. These are cable needles, so I'm going to give them a try, but how they'll work, I have no idea. Sorry about the glare, actually. So a round and a triangular cable needle. Don't know how they'll work, but I bought those from Ethan. That was his stall. What else did I purchase? We've got some fluffy hats, pom-poms in our little bag as well. Freebies from Khan. So I don't even know what's in this. It could be a surprise. What else did I buy? Oh yes, these were also from Walnut Cottage. I love the name. I'm pretty sure you're Lorraine. Walnut Cottage. Shawl cuffs. I bought a gorgeous shawl cuff. Leather. That is really cool. But you know, oh wait, but there's more. There should be another shawl cuff. There is another shawl cuff, but I don't know where it's gone now. Oh, it's in my hand. So another shawl cuff. So as I say, I wear a lot of shawls. So they will get a good wearing. I used to use bracelets to hold my shawls for something novelty, and I still can. I just haven't for a while. You get 2 bracelets and you thread them through, kind of like you do with a D-ring, and that looks quite cool. But these will be nice for something different for a change. Now when you buy the foot blockers, you also got, it was a set, so you got the 3 foot blockers and the foot measurer. And as I said to Ray, I already have the foot blocker, so can I just have the 3? So she said, well, it's a set price, so you might as well have something else. So she threw in the little a little extra instead of the foot sizer, and this is Kitchener stitch, so it's got Kitchener stitch on it, so it's one of your reminders. So I might add my crochet hooks and my little cutter and the things I bought from Ethan's on here, and then have that in my notions bag, nice and handy for knitting socks. And she gave me some gorgeous little markers, stitch markers. Aren't they cute? Little dainty ones. So that was my purchases from Khan. I thought I did very well. I didn't come home with bags and bags of fibre. Came home with more little trinkety things, which suited me. And yeah, exciting stuff. I might close off now. I hope you're all well. that spring is sprung, and over on the other side of the planet you guys are preparing for sweater weather, which must be lovely. We've just got out of it. So it'll be a change of tack for us all. So when I watch podcasts from the other hemisphere, I am watching what I will probably knit next year. But more to be said about that next podcast. My goal is, in the next podcast, is to talk about future plans, future ideas for spring and summer, and thoughts for what I can do over that time. Yeah, I hope you have a great day. I still have a thumping headache. I'm hoping I haven't done myself a damage with my fall. So I'm going to tidy this up and go and sit and listen to a book, I think. Oh, my book I'm reading at the moment, I've read it once just recently, read it through, and I really didn't like the man's voice, so I didn't concentrate on it. I just listened. Then I got to near the end and I got used to his voice, and I started really enjoying the book. So I'm now reading it again from the start, and it is Live Like a Monk by, I've forgotten his first name, Shetty is his last name, something like Jim Shetty. Anyway, Live Like a Monk. And so it's about a young Indian guy who chose to live as a monk for 3 years, to the disgrace of his parents, who thought he was going to be a doctor or a lawyer. He only had 3 choices for him in his world. It was either be a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure. So he chose to be a monk. So he lived as a monk for 3 years, and now he lives back in society, but he still lives as like a monk and with monk values. So I'm really enjoying it now. I've got used to his voice. You know how sometimes with audiobooks, I don't know, I just struggled with it, and it might have been more where I was at than anything. So I'm reading it again anyway. So I've just started again. So that is going to be my mission this afternoon. I'm just going to have a quiet. I'm going to skein up my strawberry patches wool and cast on my Pure Joy and get that started. I'm going to potter along some more with Stuart's anchor and try and get the yoke finished so I can get it on him and fitted, and make sure I'm heading in the right direction there. And yeah, and then bring the week on and see how the week goes. Yeah, okay, have a great week. Bye guys.